heckerlings chic, fashionista high school rom-com Clueless. The only 17-year-old on set, Murphy was the sole cast member accompanied by a parent, her mother Sharon. Courtesy of Alicia Silverstone's Cher, the tragically unhip tie is transformed from flannel-wearing, mop-headed, trapper-keeper clutching new girl to a skirt-donning, hair-dyed popularity case worthy of rolling with the homies, as Ty did with the gaze of the male student body at Beverly Hills High School. Murphy was also grabbing attention from fans and critics, earning a Young Artist Award nomination for her performance. Smaller roles followed, with turns in the Reese Witherspoon vehicle Freeway and the 1998 stoner comedy Longwater. Next came beauty pageant mockumentary Drop Dead Gorgeous, in which Murphy played contestant Lisa. That same year, Murphy, perhaps in an attempt to dodge typecasting, co-starred in Girl Interrupted, playing a troubled, self-harming teen with OCD alongside Angelina Jolie and Winona Ryder. It was undoubtedly her strongest, most complex character yet, and for it she earned another nomination at the Young Artist Awards, this time for leading actress. One of her most prominent roles up to that point, however, wasn't in front of the camera at all, but rather behind the microphone. As Luann on Mike Judge and Greg Daniels' King of the Hill, Murphy brought an endearing tenderness, likability, and humor to the character, a ditz on the surface but who proves adept in various matters. Murphy voiced Hank Hill's niece for the entirety of the show's 13-season run, although she died as the last season was airing on syndication. Murphy was the only cast member to receive 3 Annie Award nominations, winning in 2005. The same year King of the Hill debuted, Murphy was able to put her studies as a youth into action, appearing alongside Anthony LaPaglia and Allison Janney in her only Broadway show, the Arthur Miller drama A View from the Bridge. Murphy even invited her former coach, Vern Fowler, to a performance. That Murphy's favorite film was Bob Fosse's All That Jazz shows the actress's genuine love for the craft. In one instance, Murphy stated, quote, "I feel as if the words in a script go from the page, through my arm and my body, into my heart, and all of a sudden take me over." After 2000 slasher flick Cherry Falls, Murphy had her biggest year yet in 2001, with dramedy Sidewalks of New York, baseball rom-com Summer Catch, and Riding in Cars with Boys. Murphy was at the top of the marquee when she returned to the psych ward in Don't Say a Word, playing against Michael Douglas. For her sometimes jarring performance, Murphy earned a Satellite Award nomination. After a notable turn as a drug addict in Spun, Murphy appeared as Eminem's girlfriend in Curtis Hanson's 8 Mile. It was one of her most praised roles to date, and Murphy acknowledged the shift in attention, recalling, while not giving herself enough credit, quote, "That was the difference between people knowing my first and last name as opposed to not." The next few films saw Murphy solidifying herself as a big screen charmer, taking lead roles in Just Married, Little Black Book, and Uptown Girls. Gossip columns latched onto her dating Just Married co-star Ashton Kutcher and her short-lived engagement to Little Black Book production assistant. Notable critics such as Roger Ebert were more keen on her comedic abilities. Ebert even likened her to comedy trailblazer Lucille Ball, with her, quote, "divine ineptitude that moves beyond Marilyn Monroe's helplessness into Lucy's dizzy lovability." She, too, took on a small part in the Big Fat Kill segment of Sin City. A lover of all things music, Murphy signed on to lend voice work to Happy Feet, improbably directed by Mad Max's George Miller. While she had a small number in Little Black Book, Happy Feet allowed her to give both Queen's Somebody to Love and an Earth, Wind, and Fire song her own spin, putting her vocal talents at the forefront. also appeared in music videos for 80s New Wavers, Tears for Fears, and collaborated with English producer DJ Paul Oakenfold on a track that charted on the UK singles and Billboard's dance club songs, hitting number one. Inspired at a young age by Madonna, Murphy announced she would be releasing her own album. Murphy was even at one point attached to one of the many doomed Janis Joplin biopics, Piece of My Heart. Gloria the Penguin would be her last notable role. Following Happy Feet, Murphy was attached to various projects, notably The Expendables before her character was cut, but her creative output would be minuscule, appearing in a string of forgettable, if heard of at all, movies: The Dead Girl, The Ramen Girl, and a collection of direct-to-video releases, including her first posthumous release. On the morning of December 20th, 2009, Murphy collapsed in her bathroom in the home she shared with her mother and husband, Simon Monjack. Soon after, she was pronounced dead. Brittany Murphy was 32. The cause of death was under immediate scrutiny and controversy. How, many wondered, could a seemingly healthy and young woman die so suddenly? An assistant chief coroner deemed that the death, quote, appeared to be natural, while officials noted that it could have been prevented. The immediate cause was listed as being community-acquired pneumonia, with iron deficiency anemia and multiple drug intoxication on the autopsy. It turned out that Murphy had been sick for at least 1 week, but did not receive medical care, instead treating her illness at home. Murphy was also on her period at the time of her death, which the eventual autopsy report stated potentially, quote, leads to a weakened state of health and would increase her vulnerability to infection. Some of this, too, may have stemmed from being underweight. Her weight loss, perhaps triggered by a Hollywood casting director allegedly pinpointing her as huggable but not fuckable during the casting process of Coyote Ugly, which she did not get due to this, was wrongly attributed in the media to drug use. Hard drugs were ruled out as a cause of death. Nearly 100 prescription bottles, all supposedly prescribed to Monjack, were found nearby, but they were mostly pain relievers like hydrocodone and acetaminophen, as well as anti-seizure medication, which she began taking in 2002. Further, Murphy had been diagnosed with a mitral valve prolapse, in which one of the heart's valves doesn't close properly. Murphy's father, who was absent most of her life,